Okay, so this is the second part of our information on the research paper guidelines and how to research your topic. So I'm going to start with the BB homepage and select Campus Life Library. And this is going to take us to the Abington Library homepage. So down here, we have many different links that will help you find information. Some of these can be ebooks or e-journals. You can request information from a librarian if you're running into an issue, finding sources for your topic. They do a wonderful job at helping you with that. But one of the things that I like to start with is the library research guides. Now, since Mr. Russ has put together resources for us by topic, this is just going to be an easier collection of links that will help that relate to art. So you can either go by all guides or by subject. You can select art resources. Here you can see Mr. Russ. You can contact him directly if you do ask a librarian. That link is right there. You can also select articles and reference sources. And this is a great collection of links that you can use for finding and developing your paper. So in here, we have some books. Some of them are located at the library. Some of them are ebooks that you can read online and download parts of them. So I'll show you that in a minute. And then right here, you have article and reference sources where they're specific, or at least more specific to art history. So one of the things that can be really challenging with your research paper is that sometimes you need to find artwork that relates more to your theme. And I want you to be able to work outside of your textbook and online lectures. There is so much art in the world that deserves recognition. So if you go to Jstor, this is a great resource where you can just search for art images and you can base it on region or theme. So if you have an idea of what timeline that you have, you can just enter that in here, or you can go to browse. In any of these collections, you should be able to access. So you can do it by collection. Sometimes it helps to do it by geography. So then you can see roughly where you're going to be talking about your work. You can do it by classification. But you can see how large these are. That's a massive resource for you. So if you have a decent idea of what topic you wanted to talk about, let's say you want to talk about Rococo art, you can just type that in. And this is going to pull up anything that they have related to this art style. So when it comes to silversmithing, clothing, everyday objects, you can see a collection of things that might just get you brainstorming what you want to discuss. Now, it also has classifications down here. So if you want to keep it a little bit more simple when it comes to discussing art, you can pick paintings or drawings in watercolors. You can also talk about sculpture, anything that you prefer for your topic. So if I go to paintings, we can see we have about 224 of those. And I don't expect you to look through every single one of these images. That would take far too long. But just looking at the thumbnails often gives you an idea of what you want to talk about, or at least to click on. So this is a famous one from the Rococo period you may have seen in memes, but you have the self-portrait here. And the reason why I wanted to show you this as well is because you can zoom in on the artwork in ways that are often only seen by looking at them in person. Sometimes these are actually better than looking at them in person, so you don't have a security guard, nudging you away from the art if you get too close. You also have over here ways that you can download the work, so you can add that image to your plates and reproductions page that you need in your paper. And then you also have a Cite This item on it. So here, this is great because it breaks it down by citation style. And here we have our Chicago style right here. So you can just copy and paste that in your piece. Easy peasy, right? Now, many of these resources will have that option where you can just click and choose which citation you prefer. So you're going to save a lot of time when you're trying to add that to your bibliography. It also has other information that you can use for your image citation. Remember how I said you need to have the artist, the title, the dates, the material that it was used. All of that is there for you to access very quickly. Okay. So again, this is a great way to just write down a list of images. You can create a PDF or Word documents, anything that you need to collect those images. And then as you're developing your paper, you can pare them down. You won't use everything most likely, but it gives you a great starting point. So in most cases, it's better to have more than less. That way you can just get rid of anything that doesn't necessarily illuminate your thesis topic. Okay, so I'm going to close Artstor. We have a few others here. I don't use this one nearly as often, but this has many different both secondary and primary resources in it. ProQuest Central is great. And you may have used these in other things, so this is just a nice refresher for you if you haven't written a paper in a while. Close. And this is also where you can start searching for scholarly articles. So if I keep it really generic, sometimes if you just type Rococo, you can see any article related to it. I type Rococo arts. Oops, is it working? There you go. You can see some exhibition information. You can find things that may or may not pertain to it. I often find it easier for me to discuss a specific artist or piece that might relate to your topic. So ProQuest can be a little hit or miss, but if you give yourself some time to look through it, you should be able to find some scholarly articles. I usually have more luck with Jstor. This is what I use for most of my primary sources and secondary sources when I write my own papers. And again, it's better to be a little bit more specific on this, but we're just going to see what pulls up. You have some art that you can also use for image references. And here, this is more of a database that connects more to arts and humanities. So in this case, you're going to find many more resources available. Some of them are journal articles that you can download. Some of them you can get the gist of it by just reading over this little synopsis at the beginning. So you can click on it. Sometimes you can pull some great information out of it. 18th century French art. Some of these are from museums and catalogs. And then some of them, if they have them available, are sources that were available at the time. So those are considered primary sources. Now, secondary sources come later. Okay, so you can always, let's say, click on one of these. You can either read it directly through the website, or at least you can scroll through it if you see anything in it that might pop out and be used in your paper. You can download it, and then over here you can also see another Cite This Item option. Again, it's broken down. Here's the Chicago Manual of Style. Copy it to your clipboard and you're good to go. Okay, so I usually have much more luck with Jstor. And then I often find some of the best sources are just from books. So you can start with any of these ones that pop up for you here. Or you can go back to the home page where it just says library. You can select find e-journal or e-book. Here again, I'm just keeping it really generic. I'll just type Rococo art. Here we go. We have an ebook right here. Oops. There we go. You can either read it online or download aspects of the book. You can download PDF chapters, and it has a breakdown of different chapters here. So if you're only focusing on, let's say, Rococo in Germany, you don't necessarily have to look at the entire book. I know this is stating the obvious, but it does speed up some time for you when you're, on a time crunch. So same thing as before, you can always cite this book. You can add it to your bookshelf when you're just coming up with some ideas. So under citations, you want to change it to Chicago Turabian. And then if you hit add to bookshelf, it will create a collection of books that you can read later. So it's a really quick way to get some bibliography lists going for you. And then as you have the time, you can search through there, highlight things that you need, and start developing your paper. So I hope all of this is making sense so far. Okay. Other things on here you can search through. Like I said, make sure that if you have any issues whatsoever, you can contact our librarian and they will get you on the right track. There's Overdrive if you want more modern books. Sometimes you can find things in there, or you can just go through the library catalog, which is pretty thorough. So if I type Rococo art, the nice thing about our library catalog is that it will show ebooks as well. So you can see this is one that I just clicked earlier. And then if you need to, you can contact them and place and hold for your book. If you need to contact them to get a book from another location, they can help you with that too. So you shouldn't run into many issues finding what you need for your research. Okay. Now, if we look at other sources like websites, another really great place to go is listed in our information here. So let me go back to our research paper information and guidelines. If you scroll all the way down to all those resources, I have a few links on here. And many of them have both permanent collections and collections that happen usually every few months. So if you select, let's say, the Nelson Adkins Museum, which is listed right here, you can go to their homepage, and some of these have more resources than other online, but it's a great way to get the ball rolling with your assignments. So if you go to visit and see, you can see some exhibitions that are available online. They usually give you an introduction to some traveling exhibitions. Okay, most of these you would normally see in person, but many of the online resources are providing these virtual tours that allow you to see these museums at places like the Louvre. At the MoMA, they were doing that for a while, the Tate Museum in London. Gosh, there's so many. And it gives you the opportunity to get the gallery experience from the safety of your own home. So let's say we just collect one of these here, or click one of these here. You can see the gist of the collection, why it's on display, and then they often showcase some of the artwork that is in the gallery right now. So you can get an idea of the scale. Some of them you can get an up-close image of the artwork, or it will connect you to an artist that you might be interested in discussing in your paper. So all of that can be linked down here. Okay. And you can see right here how they're offering a virtual tour. And most of these will offer this option. Some of them are better than others. Some of them are kind of finicky, but it does give you the opportunity to see more. Okay, so I'm not going to go through that whole thing right now. I want to show you more on this website. So those are the traveling exhibitions where they have a quick start and end date. Some of them are shorter than others. You can also go to visit and see again. You can go to search collection or collection highlights. And this is similar to Artstor, where you can search based on a specific time period. So this will give you more information on the topic. or if you're looking for portraits or specific imagery or symbolism relating to your paper, it's just a great way to just look through and get that visual catalog of the arts. Okay. Now with these, you may need to enter the citation manually. It looks like you need to do that, but it has the description of the works, anything that you need for the image citations. And you can also see the exhibition history. And this is a nice description of things that will help you when you are interpreting the works and developing your own writing based on the work. So you can see how open-ended this assignment is. And in the beginning, that might feel a little bit overwhelming. But like I said before, as you got the ball rolling, you feel a little bit more comfortable. Everything usually comes together quickly. Now, if this is a little bit confusing to look at here, you can do categories, which I find easier. And there's other resources here as well if you want to base it on artists or specific people from a certain timeline. That's also an easy way to do that. Okay. Now, another thing that I like to use is the Met Museum website, which is also listed on your resources in your guideline. And the reason why I love this one so much is because they have their own articles through their website. So this is their homepage here. There's a few things that I want to show you. Some of them are aimed more at kids, but they're great icebreakers if you're not sure what you want to talk about. So if you go to Learn with Us, one of them is Met Kids. And there's a few things on here that I think are great. One of them is a map of the museum. And it's just a really fun way of thinking about all of the different collections that are available at these museums, because it's not necessarily all modern art or all ancient art. It's a mix of so many different pieces. So you can zoom in if you need to. Oh gosh, that went crazy. You can hold down and see specific works. And then if you click one of the buttons, you may find something in it that stands out to you that just gets your brain, thinking about what topic you want to talk about. And this is based around children, but it's also really great for adults because, especially if you're just seeing art for the first time, it's really hard to just say, oh, I know what this is all about. You need to go and do a little bit of research. So this way you can scroll down, it gives you all the information about it. You can watch a little video about it, listen. There is a gist of the work. And then other things that will help you just connect to it. And then you can always go back and search for other things. So, oops, where did that go? Oops, I'm getting crazy on this. So you can always zoom around. If you want to talk about something from medieval art, you could. And it's just a great way of getting the ball rolling. I'm being repetitive, but hopefully this is making sense to you. You can also use the time machine button, which is an easy way to pare down what's in the museum. So you can base it off a time period, geography, or things like big ideas. So let's say you want to focus on mythology. You can just select that, hit push, and these are all the things that are available. And they're from many different time periods that have absolutely nothing to do with each other. But if you are talking about something specific, like a mythological creature or things like that, it's a really great way to get that started. Now on the Met, there are many other things available, but I just thought this was really fun and cute to do, especially in that beginning when you're just not sure what you want to talk about. So back to the homepage. Another thing when you go to Learn with Us is you can go to the timeline of art history, which is a wonderful link to articles associated with the museum. It has its own timeline of art history, so you can base it off of region and works of art. But then there's also this essays option. So let's say you want to do a theme. Let's just go to 19th century art. So you can look at it like this if you want and pare down works from this time. And you can see there are many different articles related to it in images. There's also related essays right here that you can click that will connect you to other works associated with this timeline. So you can usually find 1 to 3 sources within just one of these pages. And like before, this one also should have a citation option right down here. Now this one may need to be adapted to make sure that it's in the Chicago Manual of Style citation, but either way, you have that whole thing listed for you. Okay, another thing you can do is learning resources. You can go to students or scholars. And you can see more of the Met publications here. So it's just a really great combination of articles and images. They have their own exhibitions that you can look at, and just to get you started on it. Okay. Another one that you can use is Crystal Bridges. Same thing as before, look for anything that says learn and engage. Even the ones under for educators are great if you need to find more specific resources. And then you even have a list of artists that are great for specific topics. So just be sure to scroll through here. You can use many of these websites to find scholarly articles. So things like ebooks, things at the library, things on these museum and exhibition websites, things on Jstor. And by the end, you should have a nice list of citations for your bibliography. But if you have any other questions or anything, please let me know. I'm happy to help. And I hope this is okay for you, because I know this part is always a little bit confusing. Okay, I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you so much.